Hello and welcome back to a very special interview edition of the Texas Private School Podcast. Today we are lucky to be joined by Blinn Junior College Kicker, Punter, Kickoff Specialist, literally everything under the sun, Alex Quintero. Alex, how are you? How does it feel to be on the Texas Private School Podcast?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for having me, guys. You know, I watched this my last couple of years in high school, so it's great to be on it. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We, if you didn't know already, Alex played at Grace Community with me in high school, so we've been friends ever since you transferred in from the school down the street. And we knew that we wanted to have him on at some point and basically talk about the junior college route as it relates to football, obviously, and just kind of give sort of an idea of for kids who want to go to junior college and what that kind of route looks like. But some context first. You're a 5-star punter and kicker rated by Cole's Camp. So you're the number 2 JUCO punter rated by Cole's, and also the number 2 available transfer specialist. Do I have that right?
Yeah, you have that right. I think I'm like number 2 kicker and then like number 3 punter. Overall number 2 transfer available with them right now.
So you have a little bit of credentials. So basically you can kind of back up what you're saying.
Yeah,
you can say you're good if you want to say you're good.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
No, he's very, very talented. I've gotten a chance to watch Alex ever since he was in high school, and I don't say this about a lot of people, but he has one of the best work ethics I've ever seen in my life, and that's no cap. You want to say anything, Walker, to open the episode?
Yeah, thank you for coming on, and it's pretty cool. Wes and I just talk sometimes about who we play with and all that, and anytime we always mention a kicker, we're like, hey, you always talk about Alex and how much how great he is, and like you said, like his work ethic is insane. So I guess unless you have a question to open it up, I guess out of high school, like what made you how was that recruiting process for you, and what was the true decision to get into JUCO?
I had, obviously my senior year was like the COVID year.
Yep.
The year that, the college guys got an extra year of eligibility and the transfer portal opened up, so they didn't have that year penalized if they transferred. So a lot of guys chose to stay. I was supposed to go to this one school I really wanted to go, and I had a few other options, but it just kind of fell through with the COVID stuff.
Right.
I heard about JUCO, and I thought it'd just be a good way for me to get more film and more exposure, hopefully, and, go there for a year, a semester, and then get out.
Right. From a guy who kind of works in the industry, when we talked about the transfer rule as the transfer portal and that, giving those college athletes that, as A&M fans or college fans, you're like, oh yeah, your guy gets to come back next week. But guys who, kind of thought about it, you realize, hey, that 1 year for that eligibility is going to hurt just everyone who's also just in the transfer portal for college athletes. And then also it keeps the trickle-down effect to high school athletes. I guess how difficult was that to kind of deal with, and how frustrating was that?
It was pretty frustrating. I've heard a lot of coaches say that it was definitely the worst recruiting class for kicking, punting, and just overall they've seen, because a lot of guys just came back for that extra year of eligibility. Their spot that they were going to give up to a high school kid or another incoming player was just not there anymore because they came back. So it was definitely very frustrating and tough, but I can't control it. It's ultimately the player that stayed is his decision, so can't do much about it. But
yeah, no, that is really tough. And you hear a lot of kids that came out of the the 21 class? Yeah, the 21 COVID year class. There were so many monkey wrenches thrown into that whole process that it's really, really complicated. And the addition of the prominence of the transfer portal has really kind of aggravated that problem even further. So it's really interesting. I'm really glad we have a guy on that can talk about, from personal experience, navigating this era of recruiting, because we truly are in a new era of recruiting since basically COVID happened, and then, like I said, the advent of the implementation of the transfer portal. So some more context. Like I said, you started at Bishop Gorman your freshman year at school that's bitter rivals with Grace. So it's really funny. I remember you transferred in and you started coming to summer workouts, and I just knew that I saw you come in, and I knew that you were a guy that had transferred in from Gorman, and immediately I figured I probably wouldn't like you just because you were from Gorman. And I don't know what compelled me to go up and have a conversation with you, but somehow I did, and somehow I'm pretty sure like I was your first friend at Grace. Was that right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I remember it too. Summer workouts. I think we had a guy on the team that quit, and he was right next to your locker, so I just ended up moving in right next to you and Uchenna, and I think it just kind of took off from there.
Yeah, and that's funny because I'm not the most social person in the world, so I really don't know why I decided to initiate conversation, but somehow I did, and I guess it's led to you being able to come on a podcast through that ripple effect. So I'm glad that it happened. But like I said, you transferred to Grace your sophomore year. You played with me. We actually beat Gorman, your old school, that year, which I know is a very good memory for both of us. But you finished out your career at Grace as an all-state kicker, punter, as well as an all-state linebacker and even receiver. Was that right, or were you all-district linebacker?
I was all-district for those, yeah.
But you were all-state for the kicking and punting, so.
Yeah. A true athlete.
Oh, he's a renaissance man for sure. I'll pull up a video of him later. I do think you might be the strongest kicker in all of junior college. It might be close.
Ooh. I have nothing to comment there, but like
you'll see why. He's jacked. I'll say it for him. He's a freak athlete, and I don't understand how. But so basically, to get into some of the questions, what does a typical day look like for you in the three facets of your season: in fall camp, in season, and then in the off season? Just kind of give us a run through of what your day looks like, so anyone that's interested in going to junior college can kind of see what that process looks like.
Oh yeah, for sure. So fall camp is honestly, it was pretty, it was fun. I liked it, but it was tough. You got to get up early in the morning, go get breakfast check. That's usually around like 7 to 7:30. There is a punishment if you miss it. Then we moved into meetings, just kind of going over plays, schemes, everything. After that, we had either practice or we would lift weights. And then, after that, we'd have a break, go get lunch, rehab, ice baths, stuff like that. And then we would go back and, get another session into practice or another workout, conditioning, stuff like that. And you do have to be taking classes over the summer. I think the minimum is 4 hours. So that's 2 classes right there.
I don't think I knew that. I didn't know you had to be taking classes in the summer to be eligible to go to camp, right?
Yeah, you need to be taking classes. The minimum is 4 hours, so that's 1 class, I think. But a lot of the guys were taking 2, actually. I took 2 classes, and it went pretty great. You got to get back from practice and lifts and just work on that too, because it does catch up to you if you, just start getting behind.
What'd you take this summer?
I think it was English and history.
Oh, you didn't want to take calculus or chemistry in the summer during the break?
Yeah, definitely not. I was trying to enjoy my summer too. But yeah. And then as we moved into the actual season, it looked pretty similar. The thing that was new was actually in-person class. The classes over the summer were mostly online. There was a couple guys that did have some classes at like 7 or 8 in the evening. Later classes in the day, really, but how we scheduled it is we have breakfast check 7 to 7:30, same as always, and then our classes are from 7:45 anywhere to like 12:30. We work with we have advisors that help us get our schedule in, and we get all of our classes, everything in through there. At 1:30 we had meetings every day, 1:30 to 2:30, and then from 2:30 to 5:30 we had practice. So we would always do conditioning at the end of practice, and then, get a lift in. And then after that, the rest of the day is yours. We did have a curfew over fall camp. It was 11, but no real curfew in school start. So,
I mean, they call it the grind for a reason. I feel like that can really, really start to wear on you, like basically physically and mentally. You talk to any college guy, especially any JUCO guy, and it really, really can start to get tough. Like, is there anything, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but is there anything that you kind of did that helped you deal with kind of the tumultuous grind that is the in-season whenever you're traveling all the time and everything like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, definitely we had some games up in Oklahoma, New Mexico, where we had to, it was a, 10, 11-hour drive. and it did take away from your week and your classes and stuff like that. So what I would say is time management. You got to learn to, at the start of the week, you can't get behind. Like I said before, you got to stay on top of everything and just really work hard and have your priorities straight, because it does catch up to you if you don't. And we did also have grade checks, and if your grades weren't good, you were ineligible to play. You couldn't play, and you were suspended for a while until you got your grades up.
So, I mean, I guess I kind of have to add on to that because, I know, just having not really much experience with JUCO, but, you watched Last Chance U going up, stuff like that. Yeah. Like, a lot of people, like, when they go to JUCO, they're just trying to make it. But what do you think separates the people from, like, who actually make it, and then some people who just don't, that dream, I guess, doesn't resolve into something they want?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I feel like at any JUCO you go to, you do have, a great amount of talent there, bounce backs, kids that just didn't have the grades maybe. But I do think that what separates them is, the choices you make. Are you going to stay on top of your grades? Are you not going to get in trouble? Are you going to, get your lifts in, your workout in, everything to kind of separate yourself from the pack that everybody is in, Because I really do think it's just just everybody's in the same bubble trying to get out.
Right. Do people lean on each other and be like, hey, let's help each other get to where we need to be? Or is it kind of like, I guess, like every man for themselves because, you're all from different areas?
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure how it is at other JUCOs. It might be different, but I do think at Blinn there is a good atmosphere and some good team chemistry.
Right.
A lot of the guys get along. I really do like a lot of the guys there, and so it's a great team, and we do help each other out.
Without a doubt.
It's good to hear. Now, this might be really surprising for some people to hear and grasp, but I think that a private high school is probably a little bit different than a junior college. Was I correct in assuming that?
Yeah, definitely.
So break down for me some of what you think are the biggest differences between, not necessarily specifically Grace, but like high school, especially private high school and a junior college, especially like what you had to adapt to.
Yeah, I mean, so I feel like it is, there's different aspects of cultural stuff, and the teachers also are not going to, I feel like in private schools, the teachers help you out a lot. Whether it may be like your behavior or your grades, stuff in general. In college, like, you have to do it yourself. You have to, nobody's going to help you. Nobody, like, your parents aren't going to be there to tell you to stay on top of your grades. Your teachers aren't going to do that either. You either do the work or you don't. There usually isn't no extension for a deadline, but different people too. And, I've made some really good friends, and I really have enjoyed it. So,
yeah. So basically, you just kind of you have to be able to be accountable for yourself. You can't. Procrastination doesn't sound like it's your friend, no matter what level of college you're at.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But it is something I think I did struggle with it at the start, just because I wasn't used to it. Right. But I do think that the summer helped me get ready for the fall and the season. But
yeah, no, I mean, it definitely sounds like it. You have anything?
No, I mean, yeah, I from just, stories I've heard about just the guys here at A&M, you kind of get thrown into the fire really quickly, and you got to survive, or, you got to find your way. So, I mean, it's really impressive to get those guys who really find their way,
Yeah, and I mean, I think I'm obviously, granted, I'm in a JUCO, and I imagine it's way harder at bigger programs and stuff like that. It's, a whole different level, but it definitely did have some challenges, and sometimes you're the one that has to go get that extra work in, get extra time on your own set aside and work on your technique, your just get extra reps.
Well, I think you could probably argue that it's not necessarily harder. It might be harder at junior colleges, not necessarily just in the strict fact that it's more difficult, but that there's less structure. There's a lot less like specific programs written in, like 6 to 7 you will lift, 7 to 7:15 you will eat, etc. Like you have to be incredibly self-driven to be able to get that done, to be able to, like, if you didn't have time to do something within the time allotted to you by the program, you have to do that on your own without anyone standing over you making you do it. And I think that kind of goes to what you were saying, that like helps separate the people that make it out of JUCO from the people that don't.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Self-drive, I think, is probably what does help you get out of JUCO. You got to be motivated and, just push through. There are going to be a lot of challenges at JUCOs and obviously any university that you go to, play football, any sport. But self-drive is, I would say, definitely one of the best things that you can have.
What was your motivation? Was it just to get out and like achieve that dream of going to the next level to play ball? Or was it something else that's, I mean, if it's more personal, I get it, but like if there's not, like, what is it?
Yeah, no, I think my motivation is just I want to get to the highest level I can and just perform and do the best that I can. I guess there's a lot of people that have helped me along the way and shaped me, and I want to make them proud.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty much it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I kind of want to talk about the period, like, when the player is still in high school, but he's about to transition into going to JUCO. What do you think is the best thing that player or athlete can do, right? Like in the months leading up to them leaving to go to junior college and play, what do you think is the best thing that they can do to prepare themselves in those few months to get ready and get acclimated to junior college second they hit the floor?
Definitely, like, they started sending us workouts late spring that we had to do. You don't want to miss out on those, because there was some guys that showed up without having worked out at all, showed up to summer workouts, because we did have summer workouts before fall camp, and they honestly struggled. They just weren't in shape and weren't lifting that much. So I would say, stay in shape, stay on top of your classes, and just be ready to go.
Yeah, and I remember those workouts weren't a joke, because we lifted together for a long time in the summer leading up to you leaving. And then when you started getting those workouts in, we couldn't do the same thing anymore, because you were doing like absolutely just ridiculous workouts. Like I think one was like you deadlifted like, what was it? I think you deadlifted 135 as many times as you possibly could. Wasn't that one of them?
Yeah, and it was more like, it was full body stuff. I'm used to more, say, chest, tri, back bi type of workouts.
Traditional, bodybuilder stuff.
Traditional stuff. But I think it was more like workouts centered around being athletic and complete, everything. So, yeah, it was definitely tough to get adjusted to those workouts at first. And some of the percentages on our maxes for the reps and stuff were pretty tough to hit at times. Some of the reps did get pretty hard, but I got used to it, I guess. And
right. Yeah. I guess one of my questions is, I guess for like specifically like kicking, I mean, I guess like, what I would think would be like, all right, all you need to really worry about is your legs for kicking when you need to work out. But what's the regiment for like guy in special teams? Like what is it, literally full body, or like what is something that you really try to focus on?
I mean, for special teams, kicking, you want to be explosive, flexible, efficient with your movement. You got to be agile. So I think it does take a lot of technique. I think that squatting isn't really as helpful as like Bulgarian split squats, lunges, single leg stuff, box jumps. Granted, it does help to squat, squat heavy, squat deep, but
this is not Alex Quintero saying don't squat. Do not skip your squat program at your high school.
Yeah, I definitely do squat, but I'm just saying for special teams, it does help to be more explosive and flexible rather than kind of just strong.
You're doing some yoga here and there, right?
Yeah, I do stretch. You got to stretch a lot.
You're pretty daggone flexible, aren't you?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I can get my head over my head, my foot over my head whenever I punt.
I got a good high kick too, but I don't know if I can beat that.
I do not.
Yeah,
I'm about as tight as a clock.
I got a little flexibility in me.
No, it definitely takes some work to get flexible too. It's not. I wouldn't say it's like comfortable to stretch. Right. But you gotta just the stuff you gotta do too.
Yeah.
This actually leads me into very, very nicely leads me into a segment I wanna basically start that I may or may not have borrowed from another podcast. It's basically I'm gonna show you a picture or a video without any context, and you're going to explain it to us.
All right.
Which of all the ammunition I have, I feel like you might be a little bit nervous. I've left some of the dicey stuff out, so don't worry. All this
It'll be on screen too.
All this
like
is safe
right
for
there.
work.
It'll
So
probably
first
be
of
like
all,
right there.
this is very tame, but we were talking about flexibility stuff.
Oh yeah.
You want to explain? You want to explain tripod for the people?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I guess core strength. I guess I was doing like handstands, and you can see a mat at the bottom.
Right, I can.
I guess I was stretching on that, but I guess I was just messing around and sent this to Wes.
So basically the process was you like got up, like open Snapchat, like you had to like set the self timer.
That's a good point. You do have to set the self timer.
And then,
Yeah,
like, you had to put it. So it wasn't just like
it
wasn't just like a spontaneous thing. Like you had thought about that you wanted to like take a picture of this and like have this documented.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was just messing around. But
Tripod is one of my personal favorites. This actually isn't embarrassing and more of just an absolute freak show type of thing. But this is a video of you benching 225 for let's just see how many times you get it up.
That's actually nuts.
It's a lot. It's going to come out to about 14 reps.
Yeah, 14.
You don't understand how angry that makes me. It's like someone that lifts like that, a kicker can just absolutely destroy like anything close to what I can do.
Hey, respect the kickers, man.
That makes me like physically upset. I think I've voiced this to you before. Like I don't understand how you're that strong.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just I worked out.
No, it's good genes. It's not working out. It's only genes.
Yeah, okay, blame it on the genes, but
Hey, it's from that all that German volume training we did over the break.
oh yeah, we did hit some German volume training over the break, and I do recommend it if anybody wants to try it out. You know, I think
Just for context, that is 10 sets of 10 reps of a compound movement. So we did that for bench. So we were doing 10 sets on bench of 10 reps, which was an absolute hellscape, but that's neither here nor there. But basically that leads me into, I think, what is the last picture I have for the explain segment. This is actually probably my favorite of what I'm going to bring up. I want you to explain this.
Yeah, that was me and that's me and my friend Gabe. I think this is 7th grade.
That is not 7th grade. That is like freshman year.
No, that's 7th grade.
Are you on? Wait, which one are you? You're the.
I'm on the right. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Why?
Is
that
my friend Gabe? We were Care Bears.
I was about to say, that's a Care Bear?
Yeah, we had we had a costume like contest at Gorman. It was like one of the themes, and we just chose to be Care Bears that day.
You don't find that odd at all. You're saying that like it's like an incredibly.
I mean,
You don't think that's drip?
No, I don't think it's drip at all. I think I'm
I don't
not a
know
big.
about that.
I'm not.
I
Now, if
feel
it was Sesame Street, it might be different.
Half of the school that day would probably disagree with you. I feel like we did get.
There were a bunch
lot
of Care Bears. You're telling me there were a lot of Care Bears.
No, there was a lot of people that liked the Care Bears. We got a lot of pictures of the people and stuff. So I think it was.
They were celebrities that day.
Yeah, it was a great costume pick.
By the way, that's not. There's not only one but two. There's two documented pictures of you in the Care Bear.
Yeah,
outfit.
no, there is, and that was. I think that was actually homecoming week. They told us to.
Caption's fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, I don't even know what the caption is, but. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you played soccer as well. You're a little dual sport athlete when we were at Gorman. I mean, did you enjoy playing soccer?
Yeah, I definitely did. You know, I'm from Mexico. I grew up playing soccer. It's a very big part of, I guess, culture, family. You know, everybody in my family loves soccer. My parents didn't want me to play football. They wanted me to stick to soccer, but I guess I ended up playing football.
Oh yeah, I guess we forgot to mention that you are Mexican. You're Hispanic. You were born in Mexico.
Yeah.
When'd you move to the States?
I was 4, so yeah. Been here ever since, and we go back pretty often. We go back summers and Christmas whenever we can to see family.
So do you support the Mexican national team then for soccer?
Yeah, I mean,
or do you?
I'm gonna say I go for both.
All right, that's respect.
That's such a cop-out answer.
No, it's a respectable answer.
I think one of the funniest things ever was it was the year I met you. It was your sophomore year, my senior year. We were watching like a video in some chapel class or something, and it was Shrek. And we'd been talking for like a little while, but like you leaned up or something. And you're like, this song's better in Spanish because you learned Shrek in Spanish. You watched Shrek in Spanish.
Yeah. I mean, like SpongeBob, Shrek, everything was in Spanish for me growing up. On the TV. So, it was weird hearing it for the first time in English over here. I do remember that, but
I remember. I think I went and I was like, "Well, how does it go in Spanish?" And you literally just busted it out how it went in Spanish. It was might have been the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. It was awesome.
I guess back to some questions. I guess we talked about it at the very beginning of you're why did you make that decision? But going into why you made the decision for colleges made sense. But that's doing the JUCO route. It's not an easy task to say, hey, I'm going to do this. Did you get advice from anyone, or did you, or your friends' family, who helped you make the decision to be hey, I'm going to go this route and see how it goes?
It was actually one of the. It just kind of seemed to all fit together.
Right.
I think I was 2 or 3 weeks out from signing date, and I was talking to one of our coaches who actually punted at Georgia there at Grace, and the athletic trainer who both helped me out a ton. But I was just talking to him. I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have these offers, which were all preferred walk-ons. For kickers, most of the time you get a preferred walk-on. Scholarships are rare. But I was like, I'm just not sure what I'm gonna do. And one of them just brought it up. They were like, have you thought about going to Tyler? Because I'm from Tyler.
Right.
They said, have you thought about going to TJC? And I was like, no, I really haven't thought about going the JUCO route. So that night I actually looked up the JUCOs in the area, and I ended up following Blinn, Navarro, TJC, and I think Trinity Valley, and none of them got back to me except for Blinn. And the Blinn coach hit me up right away, and it just kind of seemed to fit. Talked to him on the phone the next day, and it just went from there.
Yeah, and how is that relationship with that coach been? And how has he helped you in this process of through the season, through the off season, and now I'm trying to see where your future holds?
Yeah, I can say he's definitely helped me out a lot. He has a lot of contacts. He's put my film out in front of a lot of people. Good schools and everything, and he's very smart. He's our special teams coordinator. He's very smart at scheming everything and how the game fits. I've had some conversations with him where he kind of makes me feel like I don't know anything about football. Just how everything, the blocking, the schemes. There's a lot more to it than I guess what everybody thinks.
Right.
But he's definitely helped me out a ton, and I have a lot to thank of him. But
special teams are a different breed. Not a lot of people understand how much little minute details go into, especially like you said, scheming and everything for that. But it's interesting to hear perspective from a guy on the inside of how much goes into that, just because it's super interesting if you actually like football to know the inner workings of it. But basically, so just kind of getting towards the close here. But yeah, I know as a specialist specifically, you do a lot of outside work, not just with Blinn or with whatever team you're with. You go to Cole's camp, you do Chris Saylor kicking, you do a variation of stuff. To guys and specialists that really, really want to take their game to the next level, how much has that helped you? And going to outside specialists, how much does that play into your success?
I think it's definitely a big part of my success. I feel like very few people know, or especially at maybe lower levels, they don't have some of the tools to, really break down your technique and tell you why maybe you missed that kick, or, what's really going on. Sometimes even the mental aspect of it, you miss this one, you got to make the next one. But I feel like I do have, I feel like the ones that have helped me the most making my technique better has been one-on-one kicking. They're based in, I think, Alabama, but they have Coach Egan here in Texas, and he's great. Coach Goggins too. He's helped me out with my punt a ton, and those guys are great.
Yeah, I mean, going to those camps while you're, especially, let's go a little back now. Sorry, but in high school, how important is it to go to those camps? Especially for kicking, because I mean, if you told me how do you get recruited for kicking, and I couldn't tell you right now, but how important are those camps for getting evaluated and recruited for future?
Yeah, honestly, I think for me coming out of a smaller private school, I didn't have much exposure coming out of there, so going to camps was really the way that I started getting looks. And Twitter I think is very important for recruiting. You just go on there, you start posting your achievements, everything you've done, highlight videos. And you just start tagging coaches. I think that's kind of how I started getting noticed too. But I think that the Cole Sailor one-on-one camps do get you exposure as a kicker, the rankings and everything.
Yeah, I mean, no, you can't solely, it's funny because I'm going against holding yourself accountable and stuff, but you can't solely rely on yourself, especially if you want to take your game completely up a notch or make it to the next level. You have to have outside people look at you and tell you what's wrong.
Recruiting is not something that very seldom do you ever get a kid that just does high school football and then his senior year he has offers. You have to put in the work to get yourself recruited, especially at a lower level like private school, especially for D2 and below. A lot of people aren't really looking at that. So you need to put yourself out there. And Twitter is a perfect way to do that. And don't you ever forget it for anyone listening, because it's a perfect way to get recruited.
Kind of reminds me, we're going on a tangent. We've been in the works of doing the award show. We have scouted a ridiculous amount of people and gone over so much film. If you don't have a Twitter and you're playing high school private football and you even want an inkling of getting recruited, make a Twitter.
Or recognized even.
There's no reason not to have one if you're playing high school football. It's literally almost just completely necessary at this point. And that's just kind of speaking from my own frustration whenever we're trying to go find stats for these kids that are competitive and up for awards, and they're just nowhere to be found. So make a Twitter. Alex can tell you it's vitally important and very, very helpful in the long run.
Yeah, and also whenever you're emailing coaches and stuff like that, you go onto their website, the staff, you see their email. You can't just send one email and just wait for them to, get back at you, because they probably never will. You have to be constantly sending emails, because you have to remember they're probably getting hundreds and hundreds of emails, DMs, messages. So I feel the more that they see you, the more, they'll start to remember you and check you out. But you also have to do stuff to stand out. You have to post or show them stuff that separates you from everybody else, and that'll pretty much get you recruited.
Yeah, you have to do things that it's kind of all goes back to. You have to do things that make you stand out from the rest of the people, because not everyone goes on to the next level. It's only the people that stand out from the crowd. You gonna say anything, Walker?
No, I because of just being in the industry now, I'll get those random texts and DMs from kids. I'm getting kids from Alabama, Ohio. What's up, Coach Lott? I'm a college kid. I appreciate it, but
I mean, it's pretty intuitive. You got to take your hat
off.
No,
but every time that I see that, I'm like, hey, you know what? I know I couldn't help this kid because it's just not what I do. But I do respect them going out trying whatever they can to get recruited, and I really respect that. So
no, without a doubt. And just kind of on a bit of a closing note, what advice would you have for any high school player that's considering going to JUCO? So just kind of a summation, basically a summation of everything you've said to this point. Just kind of a little bit of advice for anyone that's considering going to JUCO out of a private school.
I mean, if you're going to JUCO out of a private school, you might not have some of the resources that were available to you before. So, you're going to have to be ready for that. You're going to have to be ready to work hard, keep yourself accountable. And, you just got to have that self-drive and stand out from everybody else.
Very well put. I don't think I could have said it any better myself. Walker, you have anything else? Any other comments?
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about this guy right here. You see, he got you with the photos earlier, but you get to come back. Talk about this kid at Grace. I mean, was he like that? Was he decent? I don't know. Like, how was the kid? And be real.
I feel like, it kind of got to the point where they had to put him in. Like, this kid's a senior. Like, let's just go ahead and put him in. I know, I'm kidding. Wes was a great player. He played both ways for us. Great safety. He taught me a lot about receiver. I ended up playing receiver my senior year. He ran a great comeback route. I'm sure he can tell you a lot more about that. He had it down to a science, but
I did have it down to a science.
Yeah, he tried to help me, but I just could never get it down.
See, you gotta sell the fade. You have to make them think you're running the fade. You gotta put your hand up and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Hit those drums.
You gotta hit the drums.
Yeah.
Because if you're not like quite quick enough to just hit it one cut and turn like me, because obviously I'm not gifted with the most athleticism, you gotta hit the drums.
Yeah, I remember they also put me in at safety at some point sophomore year, but I don't think I was much of a safety.
I don't remember you ever going in at safety. You played corner for a little bit.
Yeah, we played corner, but I had to go in against center. And I did give up. I think it was like a touchdown.
I remember that. I remember that vividly.
Yeah.
It was a tough game.
I remember that day.
I think that's about when Coach Thompson looked at me and he was like, "You cannot come out of the game for the rest of the year. We need you on defense at all times."
But I did find a good spot at linebacker, I think.
You did. Well, as a sophomore, you played considerable varsity minutes on a good team at linebacker.
Yeah. So
athlete.
It worked out.
Athlete. Period.
I guess what are you up to now? I guess that's what we can end it there. What's you up to now? How's workouts? Just what's the process for you right now after the season?
Yeah, right now we're just getting back into lifting, conditioning. They did give us Christmas break off, right? So that was good. Right now I am hearing from a few good schools that I am very interested in. I'm gonna be taking some visits here in the spring and. I'm going to see if anything comes up. I might not be at Blinn next year, but if not, then I'll probably, go back for my second year, get some more film and, do it again.
Gotcha. I guess for my, he'll wrap it up, but thank you for coming on. We'll have his socials on screen down below, so go give him a follow, appreciate the love that he's given us and, we'll support it back. So yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, without a doubt. Make sure to follow the boy, keep up with him on Twitter and any socials we put on there. He puts in a ton of work. I don't give him a lot of compliments, and I'm very proud of him to see where he's going and to see the journey from here on out. So Alex, thank you again. Always a pleasure. This has been another special interview edition of the Texas Private School Podcast. If you made it this far, please like the video and subscribe on the YouTube channel on the screen right now. That helps us a ton getting our message out there, and it really, really helps us gain traction. So, as for me, I have been one half of your hosting crew today, Wes Tolleson. Walker Lott has actually been himself. We thank Alex Quintero yet again for coming on and joining us. We will see you in the next episode. See you later.